Hello and welcome to Making Law Simple. My name is David Helm, a licensed practicing attorney in the state of Michigan. Today, I'm going to be streaming a opening statement from a trial that started yesterday here in Oakland County. Although I'm not in Oakland County, I'm in my office at Wayne County. So this might be a little touch and go. We'll see how it goes. But back last year in October of 2024, two men are accused of dressing up like DTE employees, and DTE is a power company, both gas and electric, depending on where you are, dressing up like basically servicemen from a public utility and allegedly unaliving an individual. So they are on trial starting yesterday. Today is day 2. I'm not going to be streaming the entire trial because I don't have time for it, at least not at the moment today. But I've been talking to Nick Staroff about it. He might pick it up. If he does, I will let everybody know. But it's an interesting case, and I wanted to see the opening arguments, or the opening statements rather. And if I'm going to watch them, I might as well stream them. So that's what I'm doing today. And if the case turns out to be really interesting, and if Nick is not going to cover it, which he might not, I don't know. I haven't received a response from him yet. Then I will probably stream the rest of the trial. But what's interesting is that apparently there's some animosity between the two defendants. They're being tried together. I don't remember their names. It doesn't matter. They're going to prison. But so the judge had to warn them about outburst during the proceedings, and if it happens, then they're going to be sent into a cell and they can watch the trial live stream essentially from their cell. So there's already something going on. And then immediately after the opening statement, the judge removes the jury and gives a warning that I'm hearing some chatter that there's some disagreement between these two defendants, and I want to make sure that that's not taking place in the courtroom in front of the jury. So there's something going on here between these two. It's going to be interesting. The other thing I'll note is that one of the defendants put the other defendant's wife on the witness list. And I don't know if they intend to call her or not, but that's preventing defendant number 2's wife from actually watching the trial. And that might be part of the animosity. So it's going to be some interesting things going on with this case. But right now, I just want to focus on the opening statements and see what the parties have to say. It shouldn't be terribly long, but let me say hi to everybody. Hey, I'm Mads. Oh, I got to raise myself up a little bit. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Nosy Rosie. I can't hit the like button. You can't hit the like button. That's okay. That's okay. I'm just doing this for fun, not for clicks or views or money or anything like that. I just want to present something to you all, so don't worry about it. Keep watching and trying to hit the like button. That's weird. And Wendy, of course, is in the chat. Hey, Wendy. A trial with MLS. Well, not the whole trial, at least not yet. Nick Staroff said that he was looking for a trial to cover. He mentioned it yesterday. And so I sent him this, which started yesterday. And I said, hey, here's a trial. Just started. It's quite interesting. The parties are fighting with each other. If you want to pick it up. But I at least wanted to do the opening statements because I wanted to see it. Hey, Bunny. I am doing very well, actually. I have been extremely busy, which I'm never going to complain about. But otherwise, I am doing good. Ready for the fall. Ready for the cooler weather. Dave can afford to do it without pecuniary gain. Yes. Now that I am retired, I can do it without. Well, so when I was streaming, like I spent a year from February 2023 to February 2024, just going all in, just to see, maybe not all in because I still had a day job, but as much as I possibly could, just to see if this was going to be profitable. And now that I determined that it's not going to be profitable, I'm just going to have some fun doing it. I'm presenting this all as a public service. How's that? Hey, Volpe Fox. Welcome, welcome. All right. So the opening statements aren't terribly long. There are two defendants. So there are two defense opening statements, I believe. I would assume in theory, one of them could have waived. I haven't really watched it. I just sort of caught the beginning. I skipped to the end, and we'll see how this goes. I don't know what the arguments are going to be. If you saw the thumbnail, it's pretty clear that they're caught face right in the ring cam. We know it was them. Presumably, we know they don't work for DTE. Presumably, there is a dead body. I'm not sure exactly what their arguments will be. So this will be interesting. All right. Take care. Take care, Bonnie. Have a good day. So let's get this going, though. And if I pop in and out, it's because I'm working. And if you guys have a problem hearing, I'm running this off of my little laptop here at my office. Hopefully things go smooth, but let me know.
Mr. Kessler.
May it please the court. Counsel. Good morning. About a year ago, you're going to hear that Linda Murray and her husband, Hussein Murray, who would also go by the name Sam, were enjoying the fruits of their 54 years of marriage. They had raised a family. They were enjoying grandkids. Her husband, Sam, was still working on a regular basis at the two businesses that he had run for almost 3 decades. Down in Hamtramck, he had both a pawn shop and also a jewelry shop. And he would still go there on a regular basis. And you'll hear as the testimony comes in that life that they were living and were expecting to continue to live came to an abrupt end starting on October 10th of 2024 when there was a knock on the door. And that knock on the door was at 10 p.m. And that knock on the door was with this defendant, Joshua Zualza, and his co-defendant, Carlos Hernandez. Little did they know when that knock on the door came that their fate was about to be changed forever, and there was no going back. Linda Murray is going to testify this morning, and she's going to tell you that there was a knock at about 10 o'clock, and she's upstairs getting ready for bed, and her husband, Sam, is downstairs. And when that knock comes, they had a house that was set up with Ring cameras. And there's several Ring cameras around the house, and the Ring cameras also not only let you know somebody's there, but they also give you the video of what's going on at the knock on the door. So Sam goes to the door, and she's at the top of the stairs, and she'll tell you she can see what happens at the front door. And she'll tell you when the door opens, Defendant Hernandez and Defendant Zualzo are standing there, and they're dressed as DTE employees, and they are not DTE employees, but they're posing as DTE employees, and they want to get into the house. So they're saying, we're here because there's a gas leak, and we need to get in and check the house. And Linda's suspicion is up right away, and she yells down, it's kind of late for a gas leak check, isn't it? And her husband, Sam, has the door open, and Hernandez is still having a conversation about needing to check the gas. And Linda shouts down, Sam, do you have your gun on you? Because of his businesses, because of the pawn shop, because of the jewelry, was licensed to carry a firearm and would carry a Glock on his right side.
I'm just now realizing,
The conversation
that I was
ends.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've streamed, folks. What I was saying is, it's sad that as a society today, we can't just open the door for people. I'm reluctant to open the door for anybody, random these days, because of things like this, right? And it shouldn't be that way. Don't ever open the door for police unless they have a warrant. But otherwise, you should be able to open the door for people walking up to your house, right? It's just sad. That's what I was trying to say before I boomered it.
Sam says, you're not coming in. It's too late. And then Hernandez says, well, we'll be back tomorrow. The door closes. They continue on with their night. You'll hear in the next morning that Linda has a doctor's appointment, and she goes to the doctor's appointment. She gets back to the house about 10 o'clock. When she gets to the house, Sam's already been cooking that morning because she's going to bring in food for his employees. It's a Friday now. And he often would cook for the employees, and he'd bring it in to share with them throughout the day so they had something to eat at lunchtime. Usually would go in around noon. So she gets in there, she starts cooking up breakfast for her and her husband. There's nobody else who lives at the house. It's just the two of them. So as she's doing that, Sam has already made the food.
So Mads brings up an interesting question. Have people gotten more scared in the world, or is there more murders? Technically, if you believe the statistics, there's less murder and less crime than there has been in the past. But I think the proliferation of 24-hour news coverage and social media and TikTok, where you can watch all the bad things scroll by, I think has put more fear in people as opposed to there being more crime. So you have a point there. Yeah, this is Oakland County Circuit Court. They've always had really good audio, and the courtroom is a little small for my taste, especially if you're doing a jury trial. I've had many jury trials in this courtroom, but there was one I remember that we felt so cramped, like sardines in this courtroom, and it was so hot and sticky. But the audio has always been really good because they spent millions of dollars miking the courtrooms. And when they have news coverage in there, they allow the news to just tap into their already existing mics. So there's a microphone literally on every flat surface throughout the courtroom, which makes it nice.
So we're in the family room. There's another knock on the door. And this time, when they go to the door, Linda is now on the first floor, and she cuts through between the kitchen and the front door, and she's looking towards the front door, and she can see that it's the same two guys who were there the night before. And she will identify defendant Zuazo and defendant Hernandez as the two guys who were there. You will see the ring camera videos of all of these. And again, they want to come into the house. They have fake DTE badges. They come along with props like gas detector that you can buy on Amazon for $25, and they want to get in. This time, Sam lets them in to check for the gas. So as they come into the house, the gas that they want to check is going to be in the basement. So at first, Zuazo comes in and kind of lingers around. I think Linda thought he was going to go to the gas dryers. He doesn't. And then Hernandez says something kind of strange, like, why?
Sorry to keep pausing it, but this is a commentary show. Salvador, no, you cannot stream snipe me. That's only for Christine. Lolita Smiles, welcome. This is a case last year, two guys dressing up as public utility employees unalived a guy in his home. What's interesting about this case is that the two defendants that are being tried together are sort of bickering. So it's made for some fun courtroom stuff. I'm not covering the entire trial just today. I'm just going to cover the opening statements. I might pick up the rest of the trial going forward if Nick Staroff doesn't, but I sent it to him to see if he wanted to do that. So that's, I just don't have time, Salvador. I have stuff to do at noon. I have a video call with my client at noon and all kinds of other stuff. So I can't stream the entire case, at least not right now. There might be a marathon stream this weekend, though. So just a heads up. There might be a marathon stream of this trial this weekend, but I at least wanted to get through the opening statements.
Got something out in the truck. So he disappears slightly, but she doesn't hear the alarm in the house beep.
Thank you, Wendy.
So she doesn't really believe he actually left the house to go out to the truck. And then you're going to hear that her husband, Sam, leads down into the basement. And you're going to hear that Zuazo is the first one to follow him down the stairs. And then Hernandez comes behind. And Hernandez closes the door. And that's the last time Linda ever saw her husband alive. She'll tell you that she's in the kitchen. She's doing breakfast She hasn't finished it. It takes 10 to 15 minutes. She doesn't hear anything coming from the basement. She doesn't hear commotion. She doesn't hear screaming. She'll tell you, I believe, that her husband was a loud talker, and that he, for his age, he was a strong, physically fit guy. She doesn't hear anything. So as the door opens, up comes Hernandez first. Hernandez now, and you'll see the pictures between the entry exit to the basement is very close to the kitchen. Hernandez is there, and he starts saying, "Where's the cash? Where's the safe? Where's the jewelry?" It's like, "We don't have a safe. I got cash in my purse." It's like, "Where's my husband?" It's like, "Where's the cash? Where's your jewelry?" Jewelry's in a safety.
That makes sense now, because the guy who was unalived runs a pawn shop. So now I kind of see why he was targeted.
Deposit box. Where's my husband? And then you'll hear, up comes defendant Zualzo. And now she sees him at close range, and she sees blood on his shirt. And at that point in time, she starts screaming. She starts screaming, "What happened to my husband? Where's my husband?" And Zualzo says to her, "He's sleeping." Then you're going to hear Hernandez, who is a huge human being. I think he's like 6'5", 450 pounds, hauls off and punches Linda on the left side of the face. She's then pushed by Hernandez. "Are you going to shut up?" She said, "I'll stop screaming." At which point in time, he starts in the kitchen to bind her up with duct tape. At that point, "Where's your cash?" "In my purse." Starts going through a kitchen drawer. "Where's your car keys?" "They're attached to the purse." And while that's going on, you'll hear defendant Zualzo doesn't leave the house. He doesn't go in the car. He doesn't drive away. He doesn't run down the street. Instead, what he does is he goes upstairs and ransacks the bedrooms up there looking for valuables. Goes into the master bedroom, which is completely ransacked. You'll see photos of it. Goes through the other bedrooms, and you'll see that there's a jewelry box that had,
I believe, yeah, the wife
which
survived.
was valueless, costume jewelry. And one of the drawers from
Rule number 1, you don't leave a witness behind, right?
that jewelry box is taken. And you're also going to hear that defendant Hernandez does not go upstairs. Only defendant Zualzo goes upstairs. And in one of the bedrooms that he ransacks, you'll see that there's a blood smear on the wall. That blood smear, when it's tested by the Oakland County lab, come back to the victim, Sam Murray. He comes back down, time to go. So they exit through the garage. Now, they don't have a fob for the garage, so she says they're in there for a little bit, and she hears a huge boom, which is probably because the garage is disconnected. If you don't have a way to open it, you can disconnect it, pull it up and pull it down. It comes crashing down. She hears it from inside the kitchen. She gets the ability to call the police because they take her cell phone on the house line, and the sheriff's office arrives. You'll see that body cam as soon as we start going with testimony this morning. And it's one of the things that we talked about in jury selection. There's a lot of officers who arrive. That's before they go into the basement. There's a lot more officers who arrive after they go into the basement. Because when you go into the basement, what you see is Sam is on the ground. It's a horrible scene, brutal scene, very bloody scene. The Emmy will tell you about the damage he sustained down in that basement. But you're going to see that his hands are duct taped, his feet are duct taped. They're also zip tied, other zip ties there. You'll see that the gun that would have been on his right side was gone, never found. And you'll hear what a brutal end to his life happened on that October 11th. You're going to hear how the investigation, because the sheriff's department with the Ring camera smartly and quickly released it to the media. And the media put it out on TV immediately, which was a great thing because they start getting tips. And as you'll see, it's not hard to see, defendant Hernandez sticks out physically. So the focus quickly turned onto Defendant Hernandez and also Defendant Zuazo. You'll hear from a witness who worked with them, who says, I saw the video, I recognized him, I recognized what he was wearing from, that was what we used to wear at work. And so and I recognized his voice. So I knew who that was. So the sheriff's office quickly gets on to trying to track down where they are. Now, what is happening with the defendants at this point in time? Well, they're trying to destroy evidence. So you're going to hear that truck, which was a stolen truck that was stolen about 10 days before. You'll have that witness come in and say that the truck was in front of my house. It was our work truck. I went to bed at 11, it was there. I woke up at 5, it was gone. So he'll come in and say how that truck was stolen. One more layer of trying to get away with what happened on October 10th and 11th. Then you're going to hear that the plate that was on the truck was actually stolen from DTE itself. So if anyone was to have run it, say, is this a DTE truck? It would have actually come back to DTE because that plate was stolen.
That's actually a lot of forethought to steal a license plate from DTE so that it would come back. That's actually not bad. That was some good thinking.
So that truck is taken down to Detroit.
Hey,
it's set on fire. You'll hear how the Detroit officers responded to the blaze. There's actually a photo of the truck on fire as that piece of evidence is trying to be destroyed. So the sheriff's department quickly starts, there's a thing called the flock system. It's used to be few places, now it's every place. Pretty soon, you're not gonna be able to drive without them being able to track your plate if they want to, because it photographs the plates. And they got him, Hernandez, going south. And they're also aware now that they've started their investigation that Hernandez has another residence that he uses down in Texas.
That's only if you get caught.
So they put out a bulletin all the way down the trip, what they expect to be to Texas, and Louisiana on October 12th quickly comes in contact with them and pulls them over. They conduct a search warrant, and what you're going to hear they find in the vehicle that Hernandez is driving is the original license plate on the stolen truck that's designated POCO, because I think that's the company's name. That's in there. You're also going to hear that there are size 13 shoes, three pair of size 13 shoes. And on one of those pair of 13 shoes, there's blood. On the left, blood comes back to the victim, Sam Murray. You're also going to hear there's one pair of size 11, 13, but there's also blood on here, that there's a bucket. And then you're going to hear that as the investigation continued, the lab that was processing that scene comes up with DNA of both defendants on different items that were found at the scene.
I have no idea what the defense is going to be. I have no idea.
As the case
it wasn't me, it was him.
You're going to hear evidence that throughout this course of events, which started way before October 10th and 11th, because as the investigation now focuses, you're going to hear that in fact, defendant Hernandez had gone to Mr. Murray's store almost a year earlier, back in October 2023, and he had pawned items there. And he's going to be identified by witnesses as being a guy who they remember coming into that store. By his size, he stuck out. They also have the records of his
the audio
phone
should be better now.
And then you're going to hear how he came back in February of 2024 and was also at that store. This time at the store, horrible detail. But he actually...
So this isn't the best computer, and I was trying to do some stuff. I was trying to set up a redirect to Salvador for after this, but, you know, we'll just skip that for now. Let me know if the audio is still crackling.
Asked to be introduced to the owner, and he was introduced face-to-face to the owner, Sam. And you'll hear that Sam park his car at that building, open to the public.
Still got to get
You
them
can see
both.
his car, it's an older Audi. You could see that he can park his car outside the house in the driveway, so you could see if he's home or not home. So this was not random. This was not an accident. This was targeted. They did not give up after the first time, where a lot of folks might have said it didn't work. They may call DTE, they may call the cops. I'm not showing back up tomorrow. That doesn't happen. They're back on October 11th to finish that mission. And that mission was also planned by getting false DTA stickers for the side of the truck.
Yeah, I didn't know they went
well planned, well targeted, and ended horribly. And you'll hear, I think, at the conclusion of this case, I think you'll come to the conclusion that they were in it together from before the 10th, the 11th, and after.
So imagine this, right? They show up pretending to be DTE workers saying that there's a gas leak at 10 o'clock at night on October 10th, 2024. And then they're told by the homeowners, it's too late to be doing this. And they say, okay, we'll go home. We'll come back tomorrow. Imagine this is a real DTE worker with a real gas leak. Do you think they're just going to be like, all right, cool. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And then when they show up tomorrow, you let them in. There's so many issues with just that scenario.
All these factors, I believe you'll find the defendant guilty as charged on all counts. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Mr. McCarthy?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. The first thing I want to do this morning is to extend Mr. Zuazzo's sincere thanks to each and every one of you who have set aside the business that you would have been attending to this week had you not been summoned to the Oakland County Courthouse to serve as a juror. And he has known about this case since the 18th day of October last year, when he was in custody and brought before a judge and advised at his arraignment of what the charges against him were. Very serious.
They were retired, so I imagine at least in their 60s. The unalived guy and his wife. Let's see. No, because I have gas and they turned it off a few months ago for no reason. We told them to come out at 10 p.m. to turn it back on. Yeah, but that's like, there's stories of houses exploding from gas leaks, right? And so if DTE, if it was really DTE and really a gas leak, they're not just going to go home. If it's really a gas leak, they're going to be like, no, we need to get in. We'll get the police here if we have to. We need to get in and do whatever for the gas leak. So the fact that they just said, okay, we'll see you in the morning, that's extremely sus. But are you thinking about that? I would be over through the night. I'd be like, why did they just go home? I don't smell gas. And they just went home. If they show up in the morning, I'd be like, no, you guys go. I'm not answering the door. I mean, but that's me. That's not everyone, right? They are on call 24 hours a day. But my point is that the fact that they went home without investigating a gas leak is sus to me. That's kind of my point. I feel like that would be throwing up a lot of red flags. Also, I think only the one defendant gives the opening statement because the other defense attorney is the public defender of Ethan Crumbley, the juvenile that did the pew-pewing in Oxford, whose parents went to prison for that. She, the woman with the long black hair, her name escapes me right now. She is actually representing the other defendant, but I don't think she gives an opening statement. So she must waive it, and we'll be giving it at a later point.
Serious charges. First-degree felony murder.
Yes, thank you, Lolita.
For the death of Mr. Murray, and the unlawful imprisonment of Mr. Murray, and the unlawful imprisonment of Mrs. Murray. So since that day, the 18th day of October in 2024, Mr. Zuazzo has been looking forward to this day. He didn't know when his trial would begin. He didn't know who among his fellow citizens would be summoned to the Oakland County Courthouse to serve as the triers of fact, the people who will determine the truth in this case. But he did know this, that once his case was presented before a group such as yourselves, that the truth would then be known. So he's been waiting for this day as his day of vindication. And it is for that reason that I extend his sincere thanks, as well as my own, for you all serving as jurors in this very serious matter.
I like that opening statement from the defense. I like it a lot. And here's why. I don't think he has a defense, right? You've seen those cases where the defense attorney stands up and says, I don't think the state's going to be able to do their job, or just keep an open mind, and then sits back down. That's essentially what this guy is saying, but he's saying it in such a better way. Let's see if he has any facts that he wants to talk about.
Now, the questions that you have to determine are all focused on Joshua Zuazo. You don't have to make any findings of fact as it affects the co-defendant, Mr. Hernandez. And that is as it should be. There's a separate jury that will deal with the facts associated with him. But because the allegations are that the two men worked in concert, or that at least this, and this is what I am prepared to concede today, is that Mr. Hernandez did not work alone. His jury will have to.
That doesn't, I'm going to back that up. I thought they're both there. I thought they were there. Maybe they were together for jury selection. No, because the judge, we're going to keep watching. I'm not going to back it up. We're going to keep watching. The judge makes a comment after the fact. No, I do want to back it up. Hang on. I'm going to back it up like 20 seconds.
Jury that will deal with the facts associated with affects the co-defendant, Mr. Hernandez. And that is as it should be. There's a separate jury that will deal with the facts associated with him. But because the allegations are that the two men worked in concert, or that at least this, and this is what I am prepared to concede today, is that Mr. Hernandez did not work alone. His jury will have to determine the facts regarding his case, but you sitting here taking in the evidence are not going to have any question in your mind whatsoever that the first person at the door to try and enter the Murray home on the night or during the night.
So two defendants could be tried together, or they could be tried separately. If they're tried separately, they have separate trials with separate juries. If they're tried together, they have one trial and one set of jurors. There's no second set of jurors in one trial. But I swear the other defendant is there. I'm going to go through this, and then the judge takes the jurors out and makes some comments. I'm going to watch that too, because I want to try to figure out what's going on here with the two different jurors he's talking about.
Of October 10 of last year is Carlos Hernandez. As Mr. Petrofessa said just a few moments ago, and you all will see for yourselves in a little while when both juries are assembled and the testimony begins, he is a distinctive individual by his size.
Not in Michigan.
6'5", or I read in one report, 6'6".
Never heard of that.
When he was arrested in October of last year, he weighed 450 pounds.
It's possible.
I don't know exactly what he weighs in at this time now, but the fact of the matter is a very big individual. Certainly one who stands out. And you'll see the ring videos. You'll have a feeling for a very good eye view of who the first person is. The question in this case is one of identification.
There, the
as
judge
to
made
all of
comments
you.
about it.
I understand.
The judge literally made comments about it before the opening statement, and then she makes comments about it after. We're going to watch the after, because that might give us some insight.
Understand what Mr. Petrofessa said, that he intends to present evidence, that people do, that would show that Mr. Zuazo is that second person. Your job is to determine whether he is correct. And has he proven that allegation of identification beyond a reasonable doubt? In the law, depending on the seriousness or the type of case there is, we have different measuring sticks by which different juries determine what is the truth. In a criminal case, that measuring stick is the highest burden of proof in the law, proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, it's a reasonable
You
doubt.
can't have,
defense.
and Judge Polis has already given you a description of what a reasonable doubt is. She's going to instruct you on it again at the end. But I ask you to keep that in mind, because what your job as jurors is to scrutinize the evidence, listen carefully to it, and come to a conclusion that you are convinced is the correct one. Either that the people have failed to prove or they did prove beyond a reasonable doubt. It's a serious obligation. And I'm sure when you received that summons, whenever that was, it said you had to be here this past Monday to serve as jurors, or at least potentially serve as jurors. You looked at it as not a wonderful opportunity to do some public service or civic
I believe
duty,
it was a shooting,
but as an interference in whatever it is that each of you would have been doing this week. But now, because you have taken that solemn oath that was administered to you on Monday afternoon, your job is to determine the truth. That's what a trial is. It's a search for the truth, and you all are the truth finders and determiners. So just along those lines, I want to tell you that if you let your mind wander while we are all gathered here together and start thinking about those things that you would be doing this week had you not been summoned and sworn in to serve as a juror, while the testimony is being presented or exhibits are being displayed, the evidence in the case, you're going to miss something. If you go this afternoon at lunchtime and have a excellent meal somewhere, and when we get into the afternoon session today or tomorrow or Friday or however long this trial lasts, and that meal starts to settle and your eyes become heavy and you start to drift off, you're going to miss something. Don't let that happen. This is serious business. And that oath that maybe went in one ear and out the other has real serious implications. And the reason for all that is, and the reason why it's so important that you listen, is because in the end, when all the evidence has been presented and the arguments of Mr. Petrofessa and myself have been presented, and Mr. Magaro, and Judge Polis has concluded giving you her final instructions on the law, 12 of you will be chosen to go back into that jury room where right now you can talk about anything except this, the only reason why we're all here together, and then begin your deliberations, your discussions about what the evidence is. And that's where paying attention is essential, because you can't honestly participate in those discussions if you weren't paying attention. And the way and the reason why, and even as wonderful as the United States is, we didn't come up with this idea of 12 people on a jury. That goes back to the old English common law, and it's been around for centuries longer than the United States has existed. And the reason it's done that way is because 12 people of differing life experiences and just knowledge of life in general sit down, they listen to what the evidence is, and then they all tell their different perspectives. And they engage with one another and come to a determination of the truth. And that's, while I am cross-examining.
To be fair, with a reasonable doubt argument, you kind of want the jury to be picking up on the slightest little things. So I can see why he's emphasizing it.
Witnesses and listening carefully to everything that goes on during the course of the trial while Mr. Magaro and Mr. Petrofessa are examining witnesses and doing exactly the same thing. You all will be sizing everybody up. One of the things that Judge Polis has already instructed you on, and she's going to instruct again, I'm pretty confident, at the conclusion of the trial, is listening to the witnesses. And I'm not going to say that any person who comes into this courtroom and takes an oath to tell you the truth, because I know who these witnesses are, and I've read what they've said in the past, and I have an understanding of what I expect you all are going to see. I'm not going to tell you that anybody's a liar. But one of the instruction you get on listening to witnesses is people can give testimony about what they think they saw, say it honestly, because that's really what they believe, and still simply be wrong. You know, I am not a very good mathematician. I had trouble with that when I got to trigonometry. But I understand that, you know, we all understand 2 and 2 is 4. But a person can add up a column of numbers and get the wrong answer, think they're right. They answered it on their test page.
Okay, first of all, he's bringing up trigonometry and then talking about arithmetic, literally adding and subtracting. Stop, man. Stop talking. Like Nosy says, I'm drifting off. I'm not following you.
Paper because they thought it was correct and simply be wrong. This information that you're going to hear during the course of this trial is traumatic and it's disturbing. And as you sit through it, you are going to be traumatized yourself to a certain extent because you're going to see some photographs that are pretty rough to look at of Mr. Murray, where he was found by the deputies that went to their home, the Murray home, and started their investigation. You're going to see Mrs. Murray testify. She herself is a victim of a crime. There isn't any question that this happened. It's a question of who did it. And the identification is the issue as it affects Joshua Zazo. But you're going to see terrible things. And it's hard to do that. And it's especially hard to do it when you're the trier of fact. Because
okay, so here's a bit of information. This defendant and this defense attorney has put the other defendant's wife on their witness list. And I have no idea what she's going to testify to. But I think that's the reason for the animosity. So, but again, if he's there and participating, maybe he wasn't. Maybe this defendant was not caught on video. Because otherwise they have a couple of ring camera videos from 2 nights. So I can't imagine this guy saying I wasn't there if his face is clearly on video.
Unlike anybody else, you are obligated to use cold-eyed calculation to determine the truth. You can't let sympathy or emotion enter into your decision-making about what the facts actually are. It's a hard job, and I don't envy you. And I know what all it is that you're going to see during the course of the next few days. So I can tell you right now from the beginning, it's pretty tough stuff. And that certainly wasn't something that you planned on having happen to you when you opened your mail on the day that your jury summons came. But I'm confident.
For all of you showing up late, like let's go. This is a case that started yesterday. Last year, October 10th and 11th of 2024, the 2 defendants posing as public utility employees wormed their way into a home, tied up and beat the wife and shot and killed the husband. The husband was the owner of a pawn shop. So I think they were trying to get at some of the loot from the pawn shop. And they were very smart in some aspects and very stupid in others. I mean, they were stupid for committing the crime in the first place, but they did some clever things, such as steal the truck, put on fake DTE stickers on the side, and then stole a DTE license plate so that if anybody ran it, it was a DTE vehicle, things like that. And there's some animosity between the 2 defendants, and they're bickering with each other in the courtroom. And I guess maybe outside of the presence of the jury, but also maybe in front of the jury. I don't know. The judge is going to address that. But that's this case, and it's out of Oakland County, Michigan.
And then each and every one of you. I don't know if you noticed, but I actively participated in the jury selection that we conducted on Monday. And
they did not notice this man.
If I didn't have that confidence as a fairly well-experienced attorney, you would not be occupying the seats where you find yourselves today. Now, I'm going to have, and I want you to just keep a couple of things in mind regarding this issue of identification. Well, the ring camera makes it really clear who the big fellow is. It doesn't really identify Mr. Zuazo. And there'll be...
That's what I was thinking, is that maybe he's not identifiable on the ring camera, which is a good defense for him. I don't know what the other guy's going to say, because I've seen that ring camera video, and it is clear as day. A 400-pound defendant. And let's go, I have that effect on people, so don't take it personally. It's just everyone has that effect.
Quite a bit of questioning about that. The person, Kelly Broad, who says that, and I expect his testimony will be, because I have some knowledge of it, that he saw that ring video on television in the days immediately after this event took place. And he came forward and he made an identification of Mr. Zuazo. I will have a series of questions for him, and I ask you to listen with keen interest there, because that's a really important thing. He's an essential witness in this case for the prosecution to establish that Mr. Zuazo is the person. And the question will be, and the one that I will raise in the end in my closing argument, is whether Kelly Broad is correct. This is an important and serious matter, and you want to see justice done. And I get that. But justice and retribution, they don't equal the same thing. And your job as jurors is to find what the real facts are and to make a determination regarding whether the correct person has been, and that is Joshua Zuazo, has been identified as the second man involved in this case. It isn't that it didn't happen. It isn't that it isn't a terrible crime, or they are all terrible crimes. But the question for you as Joshua Zuazo's jurors is whether he is the second man. And is he responsible for any of the crimes that were committed on October the 11th? I thank you for the attention you've paid so far. I know you'll pay attention during the course of the trial, and I look forward to getting my next opportunity to speak with you when I present my closing argument on behalf of Mr. Zuazo.
Okay, so I have to say, this guy started good and ended good. The middle was a bit, lost me for a minute.
At the end of the evidence presentation. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to send you back to the jury room for about 10 minutes. When you come back the next time, we will have both juries in here. All right.
There are two juries.
What we're going to do is we're going to kind of swap between where you sit. I don't know where you're going to be brought in, but you're either going to be brought in here, you're going to be brought in one of those front two rows. Obviously, it's more comfortable to be sitting where you're sitting right now. So we are going to be cognizant.
So there's two defendants, one trial, and two juries. The opening statement for defendant Z was presented to just the one jury. I've never heard of this. Obviously, it's happening, so it must be procedurally sound. But where's the other opening statement? Let's see here. We need to see the black-haired ladies talk. Did they not? There's no opening statement for her. I don't see the long black-haired defense attorney, the one that represented Ethan Crumbley, is representing the other defendant, and I don't see her giving an opening statement. So she must have waived it, which is fine. I mean, she can waive it and then give it during her beginning of a case in chief. Let's keep going with this.
Of that and try to switch between the breaks. But right now, just procedurally need to set that up and see you back in about 10 minutes.
All right, for the jury, please.
Blind squirrels and broken clocks sometimes get it right. Thank you, Dolly Talk, for the $2 super chat. You were right, sir. You were right. I will give you credit for that. Yeah, I think she must be withholding it. And again, that's her and her attorney or her client's right to do. I've just never seen two juries in Michigan. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it in Michigan. And now I have to imagine that it's perfectly fine. I'm not going to look into it if it's happening. I just they're not splitting the trial, but they're splitting the jury. It's very unusual. In the middle of the important stuff, that's when you fall asleep. Yeah, it is. It is definitely. Look at him. Look at that defense attorney. He did a good job, though. I think he did a good job. You could definitely distinguish the difference between the two defendants, though. That guy's not 450 pounds.
Or can we just bring up Mr.
Skip
What's
forward
more
to
convenient for the sheriff's department to take down Mr. Zlazo and bring him up with Mr. Hernandez, or can we just bring up Mr. Hernandez now?
I would say probably, I'd be looking to do a few hours. I'm assuming I would take him down, let him use the bathroom if need be,
And then bring him up?
we'll bring Mr. Hernandez up first.
Okay, and then is Miss Lofton or?
That way they don't have to cross.
Okay, perfect. Is Miss Lofton here?
I saw
Okay.
her already, Judge.
Okay,
Notice they don't want the two defendants to cross paths with each other in the hallway. So just outside the courtroom, there's a long hallway that goes all the way up and down all the courtrooms on that floor, with all the judges' chambers, all the jury rooms, and also the location where they take the inmates. There's a holding cell in the basement, and there's an elevator that goes up. And they get off on that floor, and they basically walk right around the corner into the courtroom. They don't want the two defendants to cross paths. Something is going on with these.
all right, so let's do that, and then we will be back.
I'm going to jump forward. Let's see here. I want to see what the judge has to say about.
I'm just gonna bring this up.
There's the big boy. There's the big guy. Come on. That's 450 pounds right there.
I'm just gonna bring up my
He likes his symmetry.
I'm just gonna bring it up.
What happened? Sometimes they mute the court audio. So there's his defense attorney. That's Ethan Crumley's defense attorney as well. She's a public defender. Yeah, he does stand out a bit more, doesn't he? Let's get back to when we have some audio. Oh, interesting. So they brought Big Boy up from the back room, the hallway that I was mentioning, and they had him out in the main hallway, the public hallway, so that they would keep those two separate. Come on, let's get some audio going. I hate pointing out body flaws, but he is a big man. Yeah, he's a big man.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Calling people versus Joshua Zuazo, case number 2024-291950FC, and People versus Carlos Hernandez, case number 2024-291945FC.
John Petrofessa and Andrew Magura on behalf of the people.
Morning, Your Honor. Michael McCarthy, P3016, appearing on behalf of the Joshua Zuazo. He's standing to my left at the defense table.
All right, tell me your name.
Joshua Zuazo.
Good morning, Your Honor. Paulette Michelle Lawson on behalf of Carlos Hernandez, who is standing to my right.
All right, tell me your name.
Carlos Hernandez.
Okay, all right, we're gonna bring the jury in a moment. Everyone can have a seat. I just want to have a brief little discussion here with the defendants, as well. So I've heard some chatter that there might be some upsetness between the parties here. I just want to make it very clear to you that if there's any obstruction of justice whatsoever that I find, you will quickly be taken down to lockup and you will watch your trial go on without you being present in this courtroom. You'll just watch it through a screen and not be here. And if you want to test that out, try me, okay? All right, so very clear. I don't expect anything like this to happen.
Try me, she says. Try me. I don't like it when judges say try me. Maybe it's appropriate for these two particular defendants. Let's go, Brandon, with the $5 super chat. Just take it. No early morning. No more early morning Michigan whirlpools, though. Michigan whirlpool is the search term. Okay. I'm not going to search Michigan whirlpool. I'm a little nervous about that. But what I think I'm going to do is I think this trial is probably going to get wrapped up tomorrow, if not today. And what I think I'm going to do is a marathon stream starting Friday evening. It might even be just let's just go for it. I'll bring the coffee maker into the treehouse and maybe a few beers, and we're just gonna marathon this trial because I kind of want to see where it goes. So I think that's the plan. I don't have time for it today, unfortunately. I did want to bring you the opening statements. I find this case interesting, and I kind of want to see where this goes. And just the chatter, and you notice the judge had spoken specifically about obstruction of justice. Now, the black defendant Z, has the other defendant's wife on his witness list. And there may have been some, hey, if you could call my wife, I'm going to beat your ass or have someone beat your ass. That would be technically obstruction of justice. So maybe that's what they're alluding to. So I will, I'd like to hear more about that. There are some pretrial hearings too. So I think, I don't really have anything scheduled on my schedule until Sunday morning. So I could probably start a Friday evening marathon stream and see how long I last. And I think that'll be fun. And a bottle of, I don't know. I'm not going to last if I get into a bottle of Prosecco. That's for sure. But we'll see where the night takes us. I'll be prepared either way, Brandon. But that's what I think we're going to do. All right. So I'm going to end it here. But before I end it, I wanted to actually redirect over to Salvador's stream. So let me just set that up. If you guys don't know Salvador Dali, he's an okay streamer. He's like the wish list of streamers. But if you wouldn't mind giving him a chance, he streams random trial roulette sort of thing during the day. He covers Judge Simpson out of Michigan here in Ann Arbor, as well as a few other judges throughout the country. And it's quite entertaining, and it's a good thing. I always just have it on in the background when I'm working. So if you guys wouldn't mind just giving him a chance, maybe, and see what he's got going on. Let me pull it up and redirect you guys over there. Nope, that's not the right one. All right, hang on. I got to find his stream now. He has set up. He does it, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's every day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time. So let me to send you guys over there. And then I'm thinking a marathon stream will be fun. That'll be a good time. Let's see here. Is he not live yet? No, it's upcoming. Okay. So he'll be going live here in a few minutes. And paste and set up and save. All right. So now we are redirecting. Like Dolly. Give him a chance. You were talking about provisions, not promises. It's okay to bring it up there. Yeah. I'm going to provision appropriately, and then we'll see where the night goes. Thank you all for joining me. This went a little bit longer than I anticipated, but it's interesting. This is an interesting case. I want to see where it goes. So we're definitely going to do a marathon stream on this. So I will see you then, and have a good rest of your Thursday.
When I was young, my daddy said